Breakfast cereals have played it kind of fast and loose over the years, offering wild flavor combinations or appealing tie-ins to popular characters to convince you to try a box. But for every crazy new idea that sticks around, there are dozens more that faded into obscurity, and some of them deserve another shot at the breakfast table. Today on Weird History Food, we're chowing down on forgotten cereals we need to bring back. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel and let us know in the comments below to tell us what other forgotten foods you'd like to see restocked on our shelves. Now grab a spoon, a bowl, and some milk, and let's get crunchy. We pity the fool who doesn't want some delicious Mr. T cereal. In the 80s, which was 4 decades ago, you couldn't avoid Mr. T, the alter ego of Lawrence Turreau. Made popular by appearances in Rocky III and the A-Team, the nation had Mr. T fever, and the only prescription was more merchandising. Enter Quaker Oats, who knew a gold-plated goose egg when they saw one. Made with sweetened corn and oats, Mr. T's cereal was shaped like, well, a T. It tasted pretty much like Captain Crunch, which was also made by Quaker Oats. Not that that's a bad thing. Who among us hasn't thought, well, I like Captain Crunch, but what if he had a mohawk instead? Mr. T's cereal was popular enough to make it into Pee-wee's Big Adventure. None other than Mr. Herman himself exclaims,
"I pity the poor fool! Don't eat my cereal!"
But lest you think they limited themselves to one catchphrase, there was also, "Team up with Mr. T. It's cool." Apparently, every campaign does not have a Don Draper. Mr. T cereal also worked in product placement on other shows and films throughout the decade, before ultimately being discontinued in 1993. From combos to gushers to the ill-fated Wonder Balls, kids love eating foods with a surprise center. Hidden Treasures was General Mills' answer to the X on the outside, Y on the inside trend. Debuting in 1993, the identical sweet corn squares belied the cereal's main appeal. Once you bit into Hidden Treasures, you'd encounter icing that was either cherry, grape, or orange? Seriously? General Mills marketed their cereal with the tagline, "The taste that's full of surprises." But unfortunately, with only 2 real flavors working in its favor, the surprise well ran dry pretty quickly. Though it was taken off the shelves in 1995, that was enough time to get not 1 but 2 mascots for Hidden Treasures, including HT, a helpful robot. 1 year after Return of the Jedi hit theaters, Kellogg's debuted C-3POs, an oddly belated attempt to cash in on the franchise. They were correct in assuming Star Wars had staying power, but why not get these babies into stores a few years earlier? Kellogg's was really playing the long game with this one. And the gambit paid off, as everyone's favorite protocol droid in cereal form was eaten up by fans who were starving for anything Star Wars related. Which is how we got that weird holiday special. What does C-3PO taste like? Basically like Alphabet cereal, but with twice the crunch. And if you don't know alphabets, because your parents didn't insist on buying cereal to help mold you into an honor student with perfect spelling, it tasted like Lucky Charms without the marshmallow charms. So you probably imagine tiny little droids swimming around in your bowl and being incredibly fussy about it, like a rigid English butler.
No more adventures.
But Kellogg's really swerved with the design with these guys, which were shaped like number 8s. You know, C-3PO's favorite number. Or maybe it was supposed to be an infinity sign. Infinity's kind of spacey, right? And because this was a Star Wars product, there were other nifty tie-ins as well. The box featured trading cards, cutout masks, and plastic Rebel rockets. There was also a send-away offer for a Kenner Star Wars action figure. Sadly, Kellogg's only produced C-3PO for 2 years. You can probably guess what happened next. The boxes became super valuable, like eBay payment plan expensive. Even the small, single-serving version is considered rarer than a base set Pokemon. Turns out, this was the droid we were looking for. Maybe it's the nostalgia, but themed breakfasts used to go hard. Like win you a college education hard. Take America's short-lived obsession with slime-themed cereals. like 2003's Nickelodeon Green Slime Cereal, infamous for turning your tongue green while promoting the Kids' Choice Awards. But even before you could do that on television, another sort of green gunk enjoyed a moment in the morning food spotlight: Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters cereal. In 1985, Ralston's, a relatively minor league player in the cereal wars, went all in on the Ghostbusters IP, creating a breakfast mixture of fruit-flavored O's with marshmallow ghosts. They were hoping to ride the coattails of the popular franchise to record profits, but soon realized that they were going to have to keep updating the product as the universe grew. Ghostbusters cereal soon expanded to include the cartoon series, The Real Ghostbusters, and the live-action film sequel, Ghostbusters 2, which each featured different packaging and different colored marshmallows. Then came a little show called Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters. No longer content with his role playing second fiddle to the GBs, Slimer finally got top billing in his own series in 1986. It took Ralston's 4 years to catch on to Slimer's new star status, but when they did, ooh, buddy, the cereal went out of its way to lure in kids with some truly choice prizes and sweepstakes. Beyond the dope Ghostbusters swag, glow-in-the-dark light switch covers, mini ecto-bombers, ecto-blasters, and ecto-charger packs, kids were also eligible to win $20K in college tuition. Unfortunately, there was little overlap in the consumer demographics of children who want to eat slime for breakfast and young adults worried about how to pay for a secondary education. Rice Krispies hit stores in 1928, just in time for the stock market to go snap, crackle, pop. By the time the Depression lifted 11 years later, Americans were ready to Rice Krispies treat themselves. In 1982, the creators over at Kellogg's decided to cut everyone a break and save us the trouble of having to make the gooey treats our damn selves by releasing Marshmallow Krispies, a marshmallow rice cluster combo to pour directly into milk. Basically, tiny Rice Krispie treats you could fill a bowl with. Turns out kids much preferred that to the classic unflavored Rice Krispies. Weird, right? But Kellogg's wasn't done. In 1987, these crazy Willy Wonkas expanded their idea to fruity marshmallow Krispies. The cereal was perfect for anyone who has ever thought, hey, you know what would taste great with these Rice Krispie treats? Fruit. Orange, lemon, raspberry, and grape were added to the mix. Why does grape always make the cut? Surprisingly, Fruity Marshmallow Krispies had some legs, making it all the way into the mid-90s before being discontinued. Sad, but at least we can still get Rice Krispies Treats cereal. Pac-Man may seem like an innocuous yellow orb with an insatiable appetite for fruit, but don't let looks fool you. I mean, he definitely is that. But he's also the star of the highest-grossing gaming console in the world. Pac-Man has netted over $14 billion, or roughly a gazillion quarters, while holding several world records including most recognizable video game character. Take that, Mario. Created by Toru Iwatani in 1980, the smash success of Pac-Man led to some interesting merchandising opportunities, one of which was General Mills' 1983 PacMan Cereal. Featuring crunch-sweetened corn cereal with marshmallow bits in the shape of the P-Man and his ghost pals Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde, Pac-Man was an instant success. It later updated to include a shockingly pink bow to identify Ms. Pac-Man from her husband? Brother? That relationship has never been super clear. PacMan Cereal had a lot going for it. Cool prizes like the full-size arcade game that nobody's friends ever won, a super version with extra-large marshmallows, and a sweetened Kix flavor. It even had a bodacious nickname for its consumers. In the Pac-Man commercials, kids referred to themselves as Ghost Compers. Radical. But like most things Atari-based, by the late 80s, it was game over for PacMan Cereal, and he was discontinued in 1988. The tangy, sugary candy Nerds is probably not the first thing you'd imagine mixing into a bowl of milk for the most important meal of the day. And yet, here we are. Just like the candy, each box of Nerd cereal was split into two separate flavors. There was the orange cherry version and the strawberry grape version. Kids loved Nerd cereal because it came with, well, Nerds candy. You could also send away for a two-sided Nerds bowl to keep the flavors separate, and something called a Nerds Gate, which acted as a milk dam. The cereal looked a lot like Nerds candy, which actually presented an issue. The small pieces would absorb the milk in seconds and turn to mush. Also, like Nerds, the result was a slightly sour flavor. Sour cherry/orange milk? Yum, yum. Also rumored were the bright red-orange stools that would allegedly occur after consuming the cereal, which, to be honest, does kind of explain its appeal. Nerds only lasted on the market for a brief, glorious 12 months before the tiny, tangy, crunchy, sweetened cereal was taken off the shelves. Shrinking donuts down into a crunchy cereal seems like an obvious slam dunk. Who doesn't like eating as many donuts as possible for breakfast? At least that was the idea behind General Mills' seminal 80s product. Released in 1980, powdered donuts, that's donuts with a Z by the way, looked like puffier powdered Cheerios, which disguised just how incredibly sweet they were. Described as a cereal that looks and tastes like real donuts, there were probably a few healthier breakfast options for 80s kids. Then again, there were also worse options, like eating a bowl of fruit-sized donuts. Maybe because of their delicious staying power, powdered donuts, again please respect the Z, actually managed to stick around for a while, even releasing a chocolate version along the way. But even the most sugary, carb-filled snacks get stale after a while, and in 1989, General Mills shut it down. In 1988, Nintendo paired with Ralston's to introduce the Nintendo Cereal System, a novelty breakfast snack with a commercial that finally gave us lyrics to Bowser's theme. Apparently, it went,
Nintendo, it's for breakfast now. Nintendo, it's a cereal. Wow!
which is what everyone had already been singing anyway. Sort of like Nerd cereal, the Nintendo Cereal System was actually two cereals in one. One side of the box featured Super Mario Bros. Themed cereal, while the other had The Legend of Zelda. Weirdly, the Nintendo Cereal System was light on swag. Each box only contained 12 cutout collectible trading cards and a sticker, though lucky winners of their contest could win a Power Pad, the Nintendo peripheral that let you run and jump to control compatible Nintendo games. The last thing anyone wanted with a belly full of Nintendo Cereal System was to run and jump. Mario's cereal had fruit-flavored mushrooms, Goombas, Koopas, Troopas, and Bowsers. Zelda's was berry-flavored, with hearts, boomerangs, keys, and shields. The Nintendo Cereal System lasted exactly 1 year, until it was discontinued in 1989 along with most of the other cereals on this list. '89 was the year of the Great Brand Reckoning, or something. Predictably, boxes of the Nintendo Cereal System are now collector's items, fetching $200 on eBay. So, good news if your parents were hoarders. Hopefully, Mario is still lurking next to an expired cup of noodles. Truthfully, there were countless tie-in cereals to popular brands in the 1980s. But we would be remiss if we did not highlight a cereal so popular and yet so fleeting, it could only exist in the brief year of our Lord 1989, right before the cereal apocalypse. That's right, we are talking PacMan Cereal. Today, parents would steer clear of the Riddler's Strawberry Marias or the Joker's Why So Cereal. But back in the lead up to Tim Burton's 1989 Batman, it was a veritable marketing free-for-all, as every brand assumed they'd be getting an updated version of the squeaky clean Caped Crusader seen in the campy 1966 TV show.
Wait till they get a load of me.
But when Ralston, who'd secured the license to produce Batman cereal, got the boxes directly from the movie's marketing department, the packaging was not kid-friendly. It was an all-black box with the bat symbol logo on it. But any complaints Ralston may have had went out the window once they saw how fast Batman cereal flew off the shelves. It didn't hurt that the prizes offered by each box included free Batman comics, kites, posters, a toy Batmobile, and a creepily realistic-looking Batman bank bust. Batman cereal, which only appeared briefly as a limited edition product to hype up the movie, was made from natural honey nut flavors and was shaped like, you guessed it, bats. How did it taste? Hard to say. A few YouTubers have tried stale boxes, but you can't get a good taste test from a box of cereal packaged more than a quarter of a century ago. We might have to take the word of the old vintage commercial spot, which proclaimed it a smashing taste, a honey nut flavored part of your complete breakfast. Subsequent Batman cereals were brought back to promote Batman Returns and other projects, but none could offer the thrill of that first black box, full of mystery and, apparently, honey oats. So what do you think? Which cereals would you like to see back at the stores? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.